Hi everyone, it's Julie back with some more book recommendations. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of running out of categories or books to discuss. I love to read and I read a lot, but I mean, it's hard weekly coming up with different categories. So this one's going to be a little different. These are books from my shelf. So I have a big bookshelf in my room and it's filled with books that I have yet to read. And I get them as gifts. I get them from used book sales, to be honest with you. I have checked, and the books that I'm going to recommend that were on my shelf are available on Libby and on Hoopla, or both. One or the other, or both, and either as audiobook or ebook. So the first one I'm going to show or share with, and so it's a little different because I don't have anything to say whether they're good or bad because I haven't read them yet, but I obviously either someone gifted them to me and thought that it would be something I would like, or I obviously read enough of information about it to think that it might be something I would like to read. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're wrong. I'm wrong. But anyway, so the first book I'm going to recommend is called Under the Influence by Joyce Maynard. And I've read books by Joyce before. She wrote a really good book called Labor Day. And so generally, I mean, if I've read a book by an author, I think it's pretty safe to say if you like their writing, you probably will like it again. Not always, but for the most part. So it's Under the Influence, and it's a book about, from the blurb. This is what I'm getting from the blurb. It's about two women, and one of them is sort of down on her luck. I believe she had a DUI and so got her license taken away, probably why it's called Under the Influence. And this other friend is a little wealthier, and she sort of takes her under her wing and sort of rescues her. So it's about their friendship, and I guess I'm gathering that because she has rescued her, then she feels like she can tell her, who she can date and what she can do, and it kind of, that seems to be where the story is heading. So I'm really looking forward to that. This is what I'm going to read next. And I actually found that it is on Hoopla as an audiobook version. So what I'm going to do is kind of a some and some. So when I go for my walks, I will listen to the audio version. And then when I'm at home and I want to read, I will, find what spot I'm up to, and it'll go faster that way. And fast is good because then you can read more books. So the funny story about this next one, it's called The Marsh King's Daughter by Dionne. And I got this actually from our Ramsey Library used book sale section. And a friend of mine texted me and said, hey, my daughter's reading this really good book. She says it's great, that we would really like it. Psychological thriller. It's called The Marsh King's Daughter. And I was like, oh, let me write it down. And I wrote it down. And I was like, what? That sounds so familiar. I wonder if I've read that already, and then I looked on my shelf and there it was. So obviously I thought that it sounded good. The blurb says, a mesmerizing psychological thriller, The Marsh King's Daughter is the story of a woman who must risk everything to hunt down the dangerous man who shaped her past and now threatens to steal her future, her father. So I love a good psychological thriller. It's my favorite type of book. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. And now I've had a couple of good, a couple of people recommend it to me as a good book. So that's always a good sign. All right, so the next book is Lisa Gardner and Never Tell. And I don't know if you've ever read Lisa Gardner. She's one of those ones that seems like she writes a book a month. She's got tons of good books. Her character is Dee Dee Warren. She's a detective, I believe. And I've read books by her before. Really good. Again, psychological thriller. Sorry, but that's what I love. Yeah, so the first line on the back, and this is sometimes I stop at the first line if it seems good enough. A man is dead, shot 3 times in his home office, but his computer has been shot 12 times. And when the cops show up, his pregnant wife is holding the gun. Put it in the basket. Sounds great. But I have read Lisa Gardner before, so I know she's reliable for a good story and enjoyable read. Okay, so now I try and mix up these sort of psychological, sort of easy reads with something a little more serious or maybe close to being considered a classic. And so this has been on my list for a while, and I really think I'm going to get to it soon. It's American Pastoral by Philip Roth. It won the Pulitzer Prize. I'm not sure what year. But apparently this one, it seems interesting as well. I mean, it won the Pulitzer Prize, so, you know, chances are it's going to be pretty good. But it also takes place in New Jersey. It references a Newark high school, and he marries a former Miss New Jersey. So I feel like there's New Jersey references, and I always like that for some reason. I mean, it has to be a good story, but it's also kind of cool if there are local references. So I think it's kind of like an American story. Maybe, I don't know if it's an American immigrant story, which I also happen to enjoy generally. But yeah, I think it's a story of, like, you know, an American life kind of thing. So that's American Pastoral by Philip Roth. And finally, and this happens to me a lot, I buy books and I say, oh, this would be great for, you know, I'll think my son or my daughter or my husband. And then I end up just keeping it for myself and reading it. So this one's called Black Chalk. And I know that I got this at the book sale. And it's by Christopher Yates. And right there on the front cover there, it says 1 game, 6 students, 5 survivors. And so I thought my son would like this, and he likes books like that, you know, mysteries, and it has college kids in it. So I thought it would be good. And then, I thought, yeah, this will be good, and I'll read it. And it says it's a game played by 6 best friends in their first year at Oxford University. So England, I love a book set in England. And it's a game of consequences, silly forfeits, and childish dares. But then the game changed. The stakes grew higher and the dares more personal and more humiliating, finally evolving into a vicious struggle with unpredictable and tragic results. And now, 14 years later, the remaining players meet up again for the final round. So probably a little implausible. Sometimes books like this are like, yeah, that would really never happen, but still can be compelling anyway. So, I mean, I could go on and on about books on my shelf, and I may do another video like this, but I'm going to stop there because I don't want to go on and on all day. You have things to do. But I hope everyone is staying safe. And if you have any suggestions for books, types of books, or categories that you would like us to review, please let us know. And I'll see you next time. Bye.